What's going on, guys? It's Coach Keem, and I wanted to come to you today and give you a little advice on one of the first things that you need to do before you start the dispute process. Before you even start disputing any accounts to have them removed, you need to do this one thing because it's going to help put you in the best position to get the deletions based on the process that the bureaus use to investigate and verify accounts. We don't want them to be able to verify the accounts. We want them to delete the accounts. The more they're able to verify the accounts, the longer the dispute process will take. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but we don't want to draw the process out, right? We want to do this one step first and then get into the disputing of the accounts to get them removed and give yourself the best chance of getting them removed. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Pull your actual 3 bureau credit report. Now you could go on annualcreditreport.com, or you can go to the bureau's direct website to get your actual credit reports, or you can use the link that I'm gonna leave in the description to Smart Credit. This is my actually partner with Smart Credit, so you can use my link and purchase your 3 bureau credit reports for just $1, for just $1. But when you purchase your 3 bureau credit report, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the personal information section. I'm not gonna do that now because I would have to pull up somebody else's personal credit report, have their personal information there. But you're going to pull that up, and what you're looking for across all 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, is you're looking for this uniform or same name, right? Address, right? Employer information. If you have outdated names, outdated address, any other outdated personal information that's currently reporting on your credit report, you need to focus on those things because those are the things that we're going to have to update and or remove, right? And the reason why we're doing this is because the credit bureaus, when you dispute your accounts, those negative accounts, they use a matching system, right? A matching system to verify things. So what happens is if the bureaus have on file certain information that you used when you filled out that application for that account that went delinquent or negative, then it's going to be easier for them to match the data. Once the information is updated, your personal information is updated with the credit bureaus on your credit report. So you got to, whatever your name is, right? Because sometimes they'll have also known as names or AKAs, or they'll have your name spelled wrong. You want to make sure that the name is the same way that it's reflected on your ID, right? On your identification. So that's your driver's license, state ID, passport, however it is listed there. That's what you want it to be updated as. You don't want variations on your name. You want to update your phone number, email address, all the personal data that's on file with the bureaus. You want that information updated before you start attacking any of these accounts, because you don't want that personal information tied to the negative accounts, giving the bureaus a better chance of verifying what you're disputing, because then it's just harder and it takes longer to get that account deleted overall, right? So first thing you want to do is start with your credit report, right? Make sure you click the link in the description, get your credit report for $1, and view your personal information. Again, we're starting here before we start attacking any of the accounts. All right. So again, that's the first thing that you want to do. Now let's take a look at this article by Experian, right? This is dealing with updating your personal information. So this is the best way to go about doing it, because most people, they'll send a letter to the credit bureaus to have the credit bureaus update the information, but the credit bureaus are only going to verify or go off of what's currently being reported for your accounts for that month. And if you have open accounts or lenders that are currently open and reporting to the credit bureaus, they're reporting certain personal information of yours that you used on their applications. Now, if that information that you used on the application is tied to the information that you used on the application for those negative accounts, then you have current open lenders that are still reporting that outdated or old information that the bureaus are going to use to verify the other accounts. So this is why you need to start with your lenders, right? You need to start with the furnishers of the information. So let's read through this, right? It says, updating your personal information on your credit report. Your credit reports are based on information in credit bureaus databases, much of which comes from the data that creditors send to the bureaus. When you apply for a credit card or loan, the creditor may review your current report or your credit report and also send the credit bureau information from your application, right? Such as your name, social security number, address, telephone number, and the name of your employer, right? It says once your account is open, I gotta kind of move my screen. Right, once your account is open, the creditor will likely send a monthly update with your last payment status, whether you were late, on time, etc., as well as your current account balance, right? Listen to this. If you need to update your personal information on your credit report, you can generally do this by updating your information with your creditors. Again, this is why I'm saying don't start with the bureaus when it comes to updating your personal information. Start with the creditors, right? So any creditors that you have, or lenders or furnishers that you have with open accounts that are currently reporting, whether it's a credit card, mortgage, car loan, whatever it is, if it's open and it's reporting to your credit report, you need to contact that creditor and update your personal information with them, because they're the ones that are reporting every month, right? So it says, for example, if you move, you need to update your address to ensure the creditor can send you mail, including your monthly statements. The next time the creditor sends an update to the credit bureaus, it'll pass along your new address, which can then be added to the personal information section of your credit report, right? So that's key. Now, it says the same process should work if you're trying to update your personal other personal details, such as a new name. However, your phone number, employment generally gets reported to the bureaus when you apply for a new account. You can make a direct request to the credit bureaus, or if you want to use a creditor as an intermediary, if you don't want to use the creditor as an intermediary or don't have any open accounts, right? So again, this is why I'm saying focus on the open accounts, right? It says to do so, you'll also need to send proof of change, such as copies of utility bills or bank statements with the new address. So even when you contact the creditor, original lender, you still may have to provide them with certain information, right? So that's a given. But that's how that works, and that's where you want to start. You want to start with your creditors and update the information. This particular case right here, or it's not really a case, it's actually a testimony from a consumer lawyer named Leonard Bennett out of, I believe, Virginia. So it's a few things that I wanted to kind of touch on so you get a better idea of the dispute process and what it entails, right? So when you send your dispute letter in, you're asking the credit bureaus to do what's called a reinvestigation into the information that's being disputed, right? Whether it's accurate or not, and to delete it if it isn't, right? So what they said is, despite the acknowledged importance of the Fair Credit Reporting Act's reinvestigation procedures, the current dispute process is not reliably effective. One study found that 94% of consumer complaints concerning consumer reporting involved uncorrected errors in reports, and the average consumer had already contacted the credit reporting agency over 3 times and waited without results for an average of between 23 and 31 weeks before complaining to the FTC. So again, only 94% of consumer complaints concerning consumer reporting involved uncorrected errors. So 94% of people have errors that were not corrected. And a big reason why is because the bureaus use this matching system. And if you don't properly update that information, they're just going to continue to verify the accounts, because they use a system called EOSCAR, which is basically 2 computer systems speaking to each other, right? There's no discretion or human discretion involved at all in the process. Right, so another thing that they mention is whether the credit reporting agency has a duty to go beyond the original source will depend in part on whether the consumer has alerted the credit reporting agency to the possibility that the source may be unreliable. Right, so you have to let the bureaus know as well that this creditor, if they're not updating the information or correcting it or deleting things, you might have to put in your dispute letter, look, this creditor is unreliable. I'm letting you know, I'm informing you that I believe that this creditor is unreliable. And sometimes you have to do that. There's a case called Henson versus CSC Credit Services that kind of hints on this, right? And then really quickly, just to deal with the actual process that they use to conduct these quote unquote investigations and things of that nature. Here it says, the 3 major nationwide credit reporting agencies, all of their trade line or creditor collection disputes They send them through an electronic dispute processing system known as EOSCAR, the online solution for complete and accurate reporting. EOSCAR is owned by Online Data Exchange LLC, a for-profit joint venture with ownership divided equally among the big three credit reporting agencies, plus a fourth credit reporting agency named Innovis. So all three credit bureaus own this system that processes disputes called EOSCAR. Right, it says it's web-based and permits furnishers to communicate with the credit reporting agencies over the internet. So it's just a faster means of them communicating or completing the investigation process, right? Because they only have 30 to 45 days. It says these communications utilize standard forms with codes, right? Automated consumer dispute verification forms, or ACDVs, and automated uniform data forms, or AUDFs, right? The credit reporting agency initiates a request for a reinvestigation with the furnisher by sending an ACDV through EOSCAR. So once you send your dispute letter and it's converted into what's called an ACDV, and then that's communicated to your lender, and then your lender will either verify or not verify the account once it's sent back, right? So that's pretty much how that system works. And there's no way you can freeze EOSCAR. You shouldn't be freezing secondary credit bureaus. It doesn't do anything to the dispute process. That's something that we'll get into on another discussion or another video. We'll talk about whether or not you should freeze your secondary bureaus with Innovis, CoreLogic, SageStream, ARS, and lexis nexis, right? So we'll deal with that. My personal take is you don't have to, you shouldn't, and we'll deal with why, or I'll explain why, or my stance on why that is. If you need any help, or you have any questions, just make sure you reach out, contact me. I'm on Instagram. I'll leave all the description links and things like that in the description below, or I'll leave all the links in the description below so that you guys can access my DIY credit repair program, which is Credit Coach DIY, which is an automated credit reporting system or software that analyzes your credit report for errors, gives you the right reasons or codes to use to dispute it, and then generates a dispute letter for you, and it walks you step by step through this process, right? That's whether or not you're on your first round, you need another round, a second, third, or fourth round of dispute sent to the credit bureaus. It's going to re-import your credit report and analyze it for the necessary errors based on the information that is given, right? So it's a completely automated system using artificial intelligence, and it's just great if you want to save time and some money on the dispute process. If not, if you don't have the time to do it, or you're not interested in doing it yourself, reach out to me. We also provide professional services for credit repair. It's only $199 to get started and $99 a month. You could cancel at any time with no cancellation fee. And we walk you through the whole process. All of my ebooks and courses are still on sale. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I'll leave all the links and things like that in the description below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.